the income ceiling when it comes to being a mortgage broker is way higher than you think. In fact, I think there's a glass ceiling in our industry that people think you can earn X amount, a certain amount, and I'm going to talk about it today in this video as a solo broker. But actually, from my experience of coaching people, by the way, I believed this too until I saw it happen, it's way higher than you think. There is an income ceiling that we need to break through to show you as solo advisors and mortgage brokers what you can actually achieve. And that's what I want to unpack in today's video, because if you don't do this, you do run the risk of doing a lot of work actually for nowhere near as much reward. And that's what I want to share with you. Now, recently I had a client, they actually sent me a text message recently, and I've been sharing this on social media, is that they're a solo, they call themselves a one and a bit man band, meaning that they effectively are them and then a part-time admin. And this specific advisor has, in the last 12 months, written £346,445. Nearly 350 grand in 12 months rolling. Okay, that's pretty impressive and also amazing, but he's not the only one doing this. This is something that I have noticed myself coaching people, that these kind of multiple six-figure advisors is very possible with the right kind of systems and processes and concepts in place to actually achieve this. Now, you would need really some admin support. As he said, he's one and a bit is what he calls himself to do that, but it is very, very doable. And so one of these days where we hear people talk about, effectively, don't worry about what income it is and stuff like that. Like, it doesn't have to, but at the end of the day, doing 100,000 as a mortgage advisor is actually very, very possible. And more than that is very, very doable. And you can have life-changing income for it. But there are kind of 5 points I want to talk about in this video that I can hopefully get you through that ceiling and understand different things. So the very first one is the invisible ceiling isn't compliance, it's mindset. So many people get stuck on this idea of compliance, that compliance is going to be the thing that's holding them back, that they cannot go any further because the compliance slows them down, that the cases take too long. But that's just not true. Okay, it's just not true. A lot of it is mindset. It's how you think and feel about it. There's an interesting thing around this, which is if you believe it's the whole goldfish grows to the size of its bowl, which is also kind of the concept. It's not the same thing, but like a Parkinson's law thing, which is if you give yourself 10 minutes to do a job, you'll do it in 10 minutes. But if you give yourself 2 hours, you'll do it in 2 hours. It's the same thing with this. If you're telling yourself that you can only make 70, 80 grand a year and that you can't do anything else because it's tough and you don't have enough time and all this type of stuff, that's going to limit your mindset, and you're going to believe it. If you say you're going to be successful, you'll probably be right. If you say you're going to fail, you'll probably be right. And so this invisible ceiling is all about what's in your head. It's not about what some compliance department is telling you, which we see so many times. And the second point with this one is capability versus capacity is another thing, which is you can do more than you think. So solo doesn't mean you have to be simple and not do much. With this idea of capability versus capacity is that so many people, me included, by the way, we think I can do 2 mortgages, 2 mortgages a week, 3 mortgages a week. And the truth is you can do way more than that. This specific advisor that we have here, he'll do way more than this. He did £170,000 in 1 month last month when recording this. So like these figures will probably go even bigger. But like that was 54 mortgages in a month. 54 mortgages in 1 month. That is doable. Like the capacity was there and the capability to be able to expand to that. We will reach and grow to the level that we believe in. It goes back to this mindset thing. But this is, you can do more than you think. Whatever you're doing, I can promise you, you can push harder. You can do more. This isn't hustle culture. People get all funny about that. I'm not here to kind of, like be all like softy and nicey. I'm here to say, if you want really good results, if you want to make, my dad used to say something to me, which is really interesting. He used to say, no one gets paid 6 figures for nothing. So you have to do well and you have to be good in order to make money. That's what happens. And so if you want to be that person, as I do, I want to be somebody who's capable and is pushing himself every single day to be the best I possibly can, then I push myself to do more and be with more people and work with more people. And that's what I push myself to do. And you should be doing that yourself, if that's what you want. If it's not what you want, that's fine, but don't moan that you do want it. Don't moan at other people who are achieving it. But this is the thing, if you're wanting to break that ceiling and earn more, realize you probably can do more. It doesn't just mean with content, it could, with business, it can mean with content. It can be all of these things. There's more you can do, which brings me to point 3, which is the system is the secret weapon. So the thing within, if you're going to be on your own, is you need systems. You need automations potentially, but really systems. So systems are things that you can rely on time and time again. These can be as simple as just being on like a OneNote or a Microsoft Word document, some form of kind of workflow, Trello. It doesn't matter, but you just need a system. You need to be able to follow it, because if you have something that's systemized, you can scale it. It might take, it's that whole slow is smooth, what slow is smooth and what smooth is fast. If you break it down to its basic components and then rebuild it back up, you can get it done quicker. And that means that you can save a lot more time on the stuff that like the admin stuff, all of these things. If we know that we do the same tasks over and over again, be smart enough to identify, I do that task all the time. Can I create some sort of preset templates for those tasks? Can I create something that just requires me to click and drop? That's how I produce so much stuff, content and work and clients. 50 odd clients. I do like minimum of 25 Zoom calls a week, 1-to-1, 25 hours of speaking to people 1-to-1, not including all this content and everything else I do for other companies and consulting and traveling and speaking and all that stuff. 25 calls normally a week is what I do. Why do I do that? Because of systems and processes. That's how I'm able to do it. I have everything. I know exactly what I'm doing when I'm doing it. I don't have another member of staff. That's the same with many advisors. You don't need to have all of this crazy back-end stuff. You just need something that keeps you on track so that you can systemize what you do so that everybody gets a consistent service. If it's consistent, it can be compounded, it can be shrunk down, and that's going to allow you, it's like the process can be shrunk, that's going to allow it to compound is what I'm trying to say. And so you will do much, much better. Which brings me to point number 4, which is that income growth isn't just about leads. It's actually about sales. So you are a salesperson. You don't need more clients. You need to convert better and sell more per case. That's how you make more money. You don't make more money by doing more mortgages, which is where the mistake lies. You make more money by increasing your fees, by increasing your insurance premiums and getting them above that kind of £100 a month premium. If you can start getting over £100 a month on average per client, games start to change at that point, because you are now at this point really starting to get quite good premiums over £100. And don't get me wrong, I would want my clients to be hitting that kind of 150 to 250 average. But once you're in that £100, can you improve those? Are you getting GI? Are you selling PMI? Are you selling solicitors? Are you selling surveys? What are all of these different things that you're missing out on, these other income opportunities that you could be taking advantage of? Check my file. I know some people use it, some people don't because of Acre, but still there are income generating things that you can do that are way more beneficial than just trying to pump leads in. And this is actually something I learned myself, having focused very strongly for a long time always on marketing, realizing that we could get as many leads as you want through the door, but if you're not very good at converting them, you just burn out, because you now have to do 20 mortgages a month as opposed to 10 for a similar amount of money. But actually, if we just got good at those 10 that you were doing, we could probably make those 10 worth the same as if you were doing 30 mortgages without any insurance. There's so much more money to be made on cross-selling and that kind of case building within it. So sales is important. So learn how to be a salesperson. They're the ones who at that point, once you do that, you're going to unlock a whole new level of income. You can't reach those numbers without doing that. And then my 5th point, which is something that's come up quite a bit recently, which is these minimums and average. So the first thing to talk about is average. So if you're arguing about minimums, you've already lost. And if you're comparing to averages, you've already lost. So let's talk about the minimums first. I have heard stories recently of brokers who are moaning about the fact that the networks that they're working under now have a minimum amount. Most of these are like £40,000 or £50,000 turnover. Truth is, if you're arguing about that, you're in the wrong job. You've already lost if your mindset is like, oh, well, I don't even know I'm going to make 40K this year. Now, just so you know, this is not for new advisors. If you're a brand new advisor, because I have a lot of new advisors who listen to me, and I love the hustle and I love the grind, and I think you got it. This is really aimed at people who've been doing like 3 to 5 years, most likely 5 years, to be honest. In my opinion, you're an advisor after 5 years. So at 5 years' time, if you're still moaning about minimums, then you're really not, you're a part-time advisor. That's what they should call it as it is. You're a part-time advisor. And that's fine. But then don't act like you're a big old boss, and don't get annoyed about people who really don't care about what you're irrelevant at that point if you're doing that level of income to them. And so if you're arguing about it, it's a loser mentality. If you want to be part-time and you want that, just go and work under an AR, but don't get annoyed at the networks for not wanting to support your average kind of ambition, which is fine. Which goes back to the same thing about this idea of average. So when we compare ourselves to what is the average premium in the industry, what is the average client like mortgage broker income, what is the average amount of, how much does the average client upload to social media? The last time I checked, you don't want to be average. I don't want to be average. That's the last thing I want to be is average. I couldn't think of anything worse. I don't want my clients to be average either. I don't mind my clients being the average of my clients, but they should all be winners. And so if you are, I'd say have a little chat with yourself there, is if you are happy with making the average amount, then ask yourself, are you happy with an average life or an average kind of ambition or an average mindset? Or that's all fine, by the way. I don't care what you want to do. It's up to you. Do what you want. But the average thing is very important. When we compare to average, we're going to be average. Don't compare to that. Compare to the top. So I'm telling you right now, a mortgage advisor has done nearly 350,000, 346,445 pounds in the last rolling 12 months, of which last month he actually did 170,000 in 1 month to make that big significant bump up, which means, this is a big one, which means that that person is not average. Do you want to be that person? Do you want to strive to that? Even if you got half of that, isn't that not amazing? Versus, or a third of that, or 2/3 of that, whatever it may be, versus going, oh, well, the average mortgage advisor sells a premium of £25 per month. You don't want that. It's rubbish. I don't want that. Do you want that? Because I really don't hope you don't. So, and if you are watching this, and I don't understand why you'd be watching this if you want that. So, yeah, I would say to you, and on this with this episode is, you can achieve way more than you think, but it all starts within your mind and realizing that there are other advisors out there who are making significant amounts of money on normal cases. It's not geographic. It's not about this person. It's not London based. That's the thing. Not London, not working with high earners. You don't need to have that in order to be successful. You just need to be focused on trying to get the best possible outcome for your clients and constantly trying to improve. And if you do that, you can have a phenomenally good and phenomenally rewarding business.